The following recording has been altered to preserve the safety of the subject.
The incident didn't take place at the beginning, but let's start there. The festival had just begun, and everyone was still getting settled with their tents. I was walking towards Campi, where I had plans to set up my things. You had to cross a railway to get over there. A ramp which was painted with graffiti led you over the tracks. A new guy had joined the camp since I had gone out for some food. He was weirdly pale. He was wearing a cap and sunglasses, even though the sky was clouded. All my friends had left to go to concerts, so I was all alone with this stranger, and I decided to strike up a conversation. "You a football fan?" I asked him. He looked at me confused. "Your shirt says Brand by IF on it. It's like a really common favorite team." "No," he said. "I just like the city." After that short exchange, we didn't speak much, only statements and small grunts of acknowledgement. I offered him a beer, and he accepted. I'm pretty sure that he didn't drink any of it though. Maybe he didn't really want it, but tried to be polite. We sat for some time in our camp and watched people go by. It was a welcome change of pace, not having to entertain a conversation. Sometimes he would point discreetly at a person in the crowd, and I would assume a question. Like, "Oh yeah, he is probably headed to the skater ramp. He has a cool board." He nodded in agreement. I woke up with a shock, and he was standing uncomfortably close to me. I must have dozed off in the late afternoon. "Do you want to go for a walk?" he asked awkwardly. "Sure. Where to? Is there a body of water nearby?" I glanced at him for a bit before I answered. "Yeah, there is a lake on the festival plot. It's usually a bit dirty by the end of the festival, but it should be okay to swim in." "Swim in?" he asked. "Yeah, swim in." "You don't know how to swim?" "No, I don't." We were already walking towards the lake as he answered me, and it took us some time to get there. He was walking in circles around the people we met, as if he didn't want to cross their path. When we got to the lake, I took off my shoes and shirt. I was already wearing swim trunks. As I began to swim out into the lake, I watched him standing at the bank. I thought he was going to get in after me, but he just stood there, alone. He was the only person on that stretch of the lake. I got to the middle of the lake and all of a sudden felt my body cramping. I couldn't keep my head over the water, and I started to panic. Too much alcohol and too little water probably did this. The water was muddy and I couldn't see anything beneath it. The next thing I remember is being pulled out of the water. A pair of strong hands grabbed me. I was being pulled along the bed of the lake. I felt the rocks and sticks scratching against my body. The muddy water got brighter. When I came back to my senses, the stranger was standing beside me, completely soaked. He was still wearing his hat and sunglasses. "I thought you could swim," he said. Yeah, no. Apparently not. I stammered. After sitting for a few minutes, we started to walk back to camp. We didn't say a word. This time, he wasn't walking in circles around people, but everyone seemed to avoid him. They probably didn't want to get wet, was my reasoning at the time. He could sense my exhaustion as we got to the ramp at the railway. I had to take a breather at the top. He then turned towards me and reached into his pocket for something. He pulled out a tiny orb, kinda like the size of an edible. It was perfectly round and had a metallic hue. Consume this. It will revivify your stamina. I look at him worried. Who the fuck talks like that? I still couldn't see his eyes behind the sunglasses, but I trusted him. He had just saved me from drowning, after all. So I swallowed the pill. I didn't feel any immediate change. I didn't feel anything actually. I spotted a train approaching, but when it passed through the tunnel, I was standing on top of the roof. I could see the camps and festival plaza go by, but in slow motion. The train was moving at the speed of light, but we were not getting anywhere. I could see the largest stage, orange stage, lit up in the distance. A mosh pit was forming, but it didn't seem voluntary. The crowd was moving like an angry wave, much like a murder of crows. They became violent, and a literal wall of death was forming. People were getting trampled. Chaos ensued. I looked at the rock band playing and thought, why is Pearl Jam playing? They are not even on the roster. Fuck it, this was my trip and I always wanted that authentic Pearl Jam experience. The stranger walked back to our camp. The days had seemingly passed because it was Hell Night now. The last night of the festival. Kraftwerk was playing so loud that it could be heard from everywhere. The night was pitch black, but you could see shadowy figures scurrying in the periphery. It felt like we were alone. The stranger said to me, "I'm going to depart now. Thank you for the kindness." "What do you mean? You saved me from drowning? I should be thanking you." "You taught me how to swim. Thank you for the beer." He walked off into the darkness, cap, sunglasses and all. Now I was alone. Now I was the stranger.